let's spotlight the beautiful Adrienne. Just as I was talking about Google tools, and guess who we have here?
Hello. Yes, I know. When I was something, I think it was the because I contributed the 15-minute
Yes, you did.
fix to the yeah. And I said, okay, well, what do you need from me, Summer? Is there a form I need to fill out? She goes, oh, is there a form you need to fill out? Yes, let me grab
There's a
that
form
form
for
for you.
everything.
There's a form for everything. So yes, and I love that about you. Maybe next Solopreneur Summit I'll do something on Google Forms. That would be fun. I
Oh,
like to do
wonderful.
things on Google.
Absolutely,
Yep.
yes.
Yes. Sounds good. But today I'm here to talk about Google Calendar. So you
Let me
ready for me to
introduce you
get
first.
started?
Let me
Yeah,
introduce you first. If you ever
let's do that.
wrestle with the Google Calendar, well, every Google tool is a gem, but if you're fighting with your calendar every day, or if you wondered that, can this Google Calendar do more things than just remind me of meetings? Our beautiful speaker is here to speak about just that. She is the go-to for all Google tools. She's an amazing teacher. She's a productivity wizard. And like I was telling her a few days ago, she's one of the staples of Symposium Synergy. Like you'll probably find her at every Symposium Synergy with some Google tool. She first wowed us at our previous summit where her session was, I'm telling you this again, her session was most watched replay. Close to 200 people watched her replay.
Wow.
Yes. So clearly, she's the Beyonce of Google tools. I'm a fan of her courses. I'm taking a couple of her courses, and she teaches you like no other. So if you need to, well, not if you all need to learn a little more about Google tools, and she is the brilliant queen of that. Her journey is really impressive. She spent 10 years as a K-12 teacher. Oh my God, your patience. She became a pioneer in Google tools for education at that time. Since then, she's gone from virtual assistant to digital product wizard, all while founding the go-to membership. That is a real gem. That is the ultimate place for all solopreneurs to be. Small teams, if you have them, you got to be a member of the go-to team, the go-to membership.
Go to community. Go
Go
to
to
community.
community. There you are.
Yep.
Yes. You'll save time, you'll boost your productivity, all while using the best of Google Workspace. Topic today is maximizing your Google Calendar as a solopreneur, and who doesn't? That topic speaks for itself. She's going to show you how to transform your Google Calendar into a powerful productivity tool. Let's welcome this maverick from Las Vegas. Oh yeah, she has two kids and she has two dogs. That's something I'll always remember about her. She's going to prove to you that you can simplify your calendar, all your tools, organize and thrive anywhere, wherever you are. Big enthusiastic welcome to Adrienne.
Thank you, Summer.
Take it
So
away.
excited to be here. Yes. Let me get my slides ready to go. So thank you. That was such a warm welcome. And I'm so excited to be here again. I love summer. I love the Solopreneur Symposium. And just I love to share about Google. And for me, it's a tool that most of us use, but it's a tool that is just a little bit mysterious for a lot of us. Like one of the things that I think about are like I hear a lot about. That's what it is. It's just like I don't know what Google's capable of. Like I use maybe the little like skim the surface, but I don't really have a deep knowledge of like what I can do. So I am going to go and dive deep into calendar with the idea that we're solopreneurs. This is part of the lifeblood of our company. I call Google Drive, Google Calendar, and Gmail the trifecta because really that's like the foundation of when we use Google tools, what we really need to focus on. So last time I focused on that I was here for the Solopreneur Symposium, I focused on Google Drive. So today I'll do calendar. And then, I mean, I'm pretty much like set up for the rest of the symposium summer with like, now we got to go on to, whatchamacallit, onto, uh, we got to go on to Gmail and then we also got to go on to Google Forms. So, anyways, a little bit about me. So like Summer said, I was a teacher for 10 years and I helped pioneer Google tools inside the classroom. And then as I was a virtual assistant, I was working in Google Tools to help my customers create digital products that actually made them money by selling Google Tools. But then I also started training and working with those that I worked with on how to be most productive with Google Tools. So I'm really passionate about how there's so much to unlock with Google that we don't know about or that maybe we're underutilizing, that if we just knew what was possible, it would save us time and then we can reinvest that time into what makes us money. I always like to say you would rather go and make money doing your services to the people you serve or your courses or your whatever you do than go and like organize your Google Drive or go and spend time in your Gmail. Like those are the little tasks that we don't need to spend time on. So if I can help you save even, a couple minutes a week, I've done my job. I am a Google certified trainer. So I got certified during COVID in 2020. So I do have the foundational knowledge from Google that I bring into everything that I teach. But then I was also invited to go to Google in Sunnyvale, California in 2023. And that was a blast. That was just such a lifetime experience to be able to collaborate not only with my fellow trainers, but then also with Google employees. And I just rely on them a lot to support me and give me the information to stay on top of ever changing Google tools. So I always like to start my presentations with just talking about how Google is your hardest working employee. It's the employee you probably either don't give any money to because you use the free plan, or you have a paid workspace, but you're only spending just a little bit of time and it's doing so, or excuse me, a little bit of money and it's doing so much for your business. So what can Google do in your business? It can house and organize your documents using Google Drive. You can send and receive emails using Gmail. You can organize your meetings and events with Zoom and Meet links using Google Calendar, and that's what we're talking about today. Google shines in the ability to share and use Google's tools to collaborate with others. I'm always still amazed when I hop on a Google document and I'm with someone in a different location, whether it's in the United States or over, somewhere halfway across the world, and we're typing at the same time on a Google Doc. Like that still blows my mind that we're able to do that with each other. And I think that's just so cool. And then you can also use Google tools to create digital products that you can either sell or add to your courses. And thinking about what Google can do in your business, we're going to focus on that green block today, and we're going to really dive into Google Calendar. And first, before we get started, I want to know in the chat, just drop, and you can either say free or paid. Are you using a free Google account? If you're using Google, are you using a free one or are you using a paid one? And just let me know. And I'm going to cover both. So, okay, lots of free, some paid. Okay, perfect. So when I talk about Google Calendar, I'm going to talk about things that are on both plans, and I am going to talk and show you, like, there'll be an asterisk by a feature that's only on a paid plan, and we'll kind of discuss why you might want to consider upgrading as a business owner to a paid Google Workspace. So here's a little breakdown of free versus paid. So a free Google account versus a paid Google Workspace, and Google Workspace is the business plan. A Google account, just a free one, is $0. You get 15 gigabytes of storage. You get an @gmail.com email address. You have basic Google Calendar functionality, which we'll go through today. And you get one appointment scheduler. So this is a relatively new thing in Google within the last year or so, is that it has created like a Calendly-like appointment scheduler. So if you're on the free account, you do get one of those included. On the paid side, it starts as little as $6 a month, which is these days less than a latte. You do get 30 gigabytes of storage minimum, and then it goes up from there. You can connect your domain and you get a custom email address, so @yourdomainname.com. You get enhanced Google Calendar functionality, which we'll talk about today. You can have multiple appointment schedulers, and you can actually get paid for those appointment bookings. So you can connect it with Stripe, and you can get you can do get paid for your appointments that you schedule. And the 5 essential Google Calendar functions we're going to cover today are, I call it one calendar to rule them all. I really advocate for just putting everything on one Google Calendar, and we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the key settings in Google Calendar that to be aware of, and so that you can really make sure things are optimized in Google Calendar. We're going to talk about color coding your events to visually see what you have going on in your calendar. We're going to talk about adding video conferencing to Google Calendar for events, so you can automatically connect to Google Meet or Zoom. And then we're going to finish with talking about that appointment scheduling feature. And then feel free to drop any questions you have in the chat, and then I will answer those at the end, and of course do a Q&A for these. So let's go to the one calendar to rule them all. I think it was when I started really transitioning into doing a lot of freelancing work where I had to schedule appointments with other people. And I realized it was really challenging for me to have multiple calendars going on, because I wanted Calendly to read, and I was using Calendly at the time, or like and I've used a TidyCal as well. I wanted it to read my calendar, find the holes in there to be able to book appointments with each other, so, or other people, like discovery calls and things like that. But they weren't reading the calendars well. I was double booking myself a lot. My husband wasn't getting certain things that I needed him to see what was going on. It was just getting really challenging. And so I found that if I put everything in my life on one calendar and then color coded it, which we're going to go down the way, it reduced so many headaches and made my life so much easier. So here's a blurred out example of a week, and this is a relatively light week. You should see my week this week. It's been absolutely nuts. But if you have everything on one calendar, you really get a good idea of what your week is at a glance. So you can go in and see visually where you're busy, where you're free. An appointment scheduler, a Calendly, a scheduling tool can really easily find availability to book calls. And then the key one is then you know what calendar to schedule all your events on. And I find that this is a common pain point in the students that I work with. They oftentimes will get a calendar event that will come to their personal, but it needs to be on their business. And then how do we connect them all? And then things get double booked and jumbled up. And so if you know, okay, everything's going to live on this one calendar, it makes it so much easier just to make sure everything is streamlined and you don't lose anything. And actually, this presentation is really timely because naturally in my membership, the Go-To community, we have been talking about Google Calendar. That came up as a pain point for some of my students. So we talked about that pretty in depth about how we can move things over to one calendar just to alleviate some of those pain points. I recommend using your business email address as the main one because most of the time that's what you're going to have your calendar look at. Your calendar scheduler is going to read. And then I also think it's most professional when you're sending event invites to send it from whatever your business email address is. I am a personal advocate for having a paid plan because of having a professional email address. In my opinion, I believe that it's like your digital business card. When you're giving your email address out, you're giving them not only the saying, hey, I'm a legit business, I can pay for a domain name, I can pay for an email address for my domain account, but also you're telling them where to go. Because just by the Adrienne at adriennefarrow.com, you're saying, hey, you can go to adriennefarrow.com and find out more about me without saying anything. If you give them a gmail.com address, you're not telling them where to go find you. So in my opinion, a business email address is your calling card. But even if your business email address is an at gmail.com, and you have your business name at the front, it's going to be the most professional for people to see your business email address rather than your personal one to be the one to invite people. So a couple quick tips. One of the biggest pain points I hear is when they adopt the one calendar to rule them all, making sure everything migrates over easily. So give yourself like a good month or so to get things ironed out. Duplicate events from other calendars to yours. So for example, if you get a Google Calendar for a course or a membership, you can duplicate the events from that Google Calendar so that it goes onto your Google Calendar, so you don't have to have them layered. You can see just, what you want, and then you can pick and choose and say, hey, I'm going to go to this call and I'm going to go to this call and add those to your Google Calendar. You can also add your business account to a guest on an event to have it showed up. So this is a common tip I give people who are trying to migrate their personal things over to their one calendar to rule them all. So if, for example, you have a dentist appointment that is on your personal calendar and you want it to be on your business calendar, just add that business email address as a guest on the event for your dentist appointment, and then it'll show up on your business account and you don't have to duplicate it over. And then you can also add family members as guests to your personal events. So my husband and I share an email address that's a family email address, so at gmail.com. And anytime I put a personal event or something that I need him to know about on my business one calendar to rule them all, I just add that family email address as a guest. And so it shows up on his calendar and he can see what's going on. So I'm not disrupting my calendar, but I'm letting him know what he needs to see. So why I don't like multiple calendars, just to kind of recap, it's harder for a calendar schedule to read. It's easier to double book yourself. And then your calendar can become extremely visually cluttered. And so, my number one tip is to adopt the one calendar to rule them all framework. Let's dive into some of the key settings. So if you go to settings in Google Calendar, these are some of the ones that I would just be aware of and look at either adjusting or turning on just to make sure it is most effective for you. So you should automatically be in the correct time zone for where you live. But you can also add a secondary time zone if there's like you travel frequently to a different time zone or your virtual assistant or someone else is in another time zone. So you can display a secondary time zone so you can quickly see those hours. And then you can either have it automatically update your primary time zone to wherever you are. So when you're traveling, or you can just have it always be in your primary time zone. I like it to always be in my primary time zone, even if I go to different time zones, just because I've had issues in the past of like putting in an appointment at the time zone that I'm in, but then it converts it to the PST and then it gets all kind of confused. So I always try and just keep my calendar in my primary time zone and just think PST for me all the way. Another couple of things is your event settings. You can just choose a default duration. So whenever you add an event, it can automatically be 30 minutes or 1 hour or 45 minutes. And so if you have a duration for your event that you frequently do, most often it's like probably about a half hour, you can just set that automatically. Double check your notification settings. Some people love notifications, some people don't. So you can turn those on and off. You can choose to start your week on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. So I'm a Monday girl. I like my calendar to start on Monday. I like to think of my work week that way and then have Saturday and Sunday at the end. But you can play around with when your week starts. And then if you're on a paid Google Workspace, you can set your own working hours. And so you can have that in your Google Calendar so that if people try and schedule meetings with you and they schedule it outside the working hours, they're going to get a little notification that say, hey, this person's not available during this time. And so it's a way of maintaining really good work boundaries. When you go to the individual calendars, so that was for all of Google Calendars. This is for calendar by calendar setting. You can determine who has access to that calendar, so you can actually make it public. This is a great way of sharing a Google Calendar with a group like a membership or a course. You can also share it with specific people or groups. So your virtual assistant can see it, or everyone in your organization, your domain can see it. You can choose specific event notifications just for that calendar. And then you can also create a public URL to the calendar or even embed the calendar directly into your course platform or your website or whatnot. So there's some different functionalities there for the calendar by calendar settings. So definitely take some time, look through those settings, make sure that they are the way that you like them to be, because that can really, really assist you. I am a huge fan of color coding my events. I love the visual aspect of knowing what I see. Like when I'm visually looking at my calendar, I can go, okay, I have a lot of purple, which purple for me is personal because it's my favorite color. I have a lot of yellow, yellow's work. So if you can think of the type of events that you have in your business and categorize them. So for me, it's like personal appointments, and I think it even shows on the next screen, work calls. Each category has a color, and in Google Workspace, so the paid version, you can actually give those colors a name. But then you can use that color coding to really get a sense of how your week is broken down or broken up by category. So in a free Google account, this is what your event looks like. So you can choose the different colors. It's right by the name of your calendar is where those colors are. But if you're in the paid, you can actually give each color a name. So here's my breakdown. So purple is personal, green is the go-to community, my membership. My parents travel a lot, so I track their schedule and I give that a blue. Any summits or bundles I'm participating in is this dark one. My credit card due dates are green. So I have a label for each of the colors. And then on a paid Google plan, I can actually get a breakdown of how much time I'm spending in each of those colors, which is really cool to kind of get that overview of what my week is looking like. And the Time Insights actually even breaks it down by like meetings and how many meetings you have and how many people you're meeting with. So they give you some really cool insights on the paid level. All right, moving on. Video conferencing to Google Calendar events is huge. Google is going to naturally default to Google Meet. And so that's going to be a way of just, you get Google Meet as an option in Google Workspace, the paid version, you can have, that's where you can record, and that's where you can have multiple, lots of people attend, etc. But you have Google Meet in your free account, and that's going to be your default. You can add on Zoom with an add-on in the Google Workspace Marketplace. This is what this looks like. And you install it, and then it'll give you the option of clicking a button, and it will generate a Zoom link for that meeting for you. So you don't have to go into Zoom, grab a URL, and then put it in there. And you can turn off the setting for Google Meet to be the default in the admin console. So if you are on a paid plan, you get an admin console to organize your organization. And so you can go in there and say, hey, I don't want you to automatically put on a Google Meet every time, because that is the default of what it did. It was driving me crazy for a while until I figured out how to do that. So on your event, if you only have Google Meet as the option, it's just going to be this add Google Meet video conferencing, and you're just going to click it, and it's going to generate a link for you. If you add the Zoom add-on, you're going to have this little drop down, and you can add a Zoom meeting here. I've been playing around with it. Mine also gives me this button, make it a Zoom meeting, but when I've added it onto another account, it doesn't. So Zoom's being a little finicky on this add-on. So whether or not you have make it a Zoom meeting or not, this button will just automatically generate a Zoom meeting link for you, so you don't have to worry about that. And the last thing we'll go over is appointment scheduling. So this is Google's new feature within the last year that creates appointment calendar, appointment scheduling for you, like Calendly, like TidyCal, like one of those systems. So this is what it looks like on the user's end when they're trying to book an appointment with you. You can create an appointment scheduler in Google Calendar. Like I said, on the free plan, you get one. On the paid plan, you get one at the $6 a month level, and then the $12 a month level, which is the one that I advocate for most business owners to be at, just because of the amazing functionalities that it has. You can have multiple, and then you can also integrate Stripe into there. So you can actually get paid for those appointments people book with you. So that is integrated into your Google Calendar automatically. We'll go back here. I have kind of a love-hate relationship with the appointment scheduling. I love to just be honest and tell everybody how I feel about it. I don't currently use it. I am going to adopt it for one of my offers. The main reason I don't like it is it to me clutters my Google Workspace, my calendar visually, because it puts these little bars to show the availability on the calendar. And it's just a lot for my brain to see that, plus all the other things that I have. That being said, I mean, it's an amazing functionality. It's embedded right into Google. I shouldn't have to pay for another tool. It's right there. It can save me several, I was looking at Calendly. I think it's for the functionality, like to match the functionality of what Google can give you, you'd be on the $10 a month plan in Calendly. So it saves you $10 a month for that appointment scheduler. So it is a really cool feature that Google has now. So if you book calls with anybody, I definitely would recommend looking into it. All right, so let's review and recap, and then I'll answer any questions we have. So my number one thing is adopt the one calendar to rule them all system. It's going to make your life so much easier having everything just on one calendar versus multiple calendars. Look at those key settings, spend some time going through them to make sure it's what you need, so that you can get the notifications you want or are in the correct time zone, things like that. Color code your events so that you can visually see what you have going on. Think of the different categories of the events you have on your Google Calendar, and then give those a color. And then you can add video conferencing to your Google Calendar events to make your life easier when adding Google Meet or Zoom links. And then look at the appointment scheduling option. That can really be helpful, especially if you use something like Calendly. It can just be embedded right into your Google. All right, so thank you guys for watching. I know they dropped some links in the chat. Come join me in my community, which is that Google group. Summer's in there, and I think a couple other people in here might be a part of that as well. And I can drop that link in the chat as well. That is my group to just be supportive in Google. People ask questions. I drop up what's coming up, what I'm up to, updates as I find them, things like that. But my community, which is the go-to community, which is my paid membership, that's really where I give the most support to. We really dive deep into looking at how to duplicate those events and create your one calendar to rule them all. People pull up their calendars, I assist them, all that type of thing. So that's really, if you're looking for some hands-on support, that's really the best place to come and find me. So thank you so much. I'm going to stop my slides and open it up for any questions you guys might have. So
Get ready for questions. First of all, let me say something about go-to membership. Go to. I thought like it was so cute. If you guys are thinking go to for what? It stands for Google Tools. Go stands for Google and to for tools. It was an aha moment for me at one moment. And that's one group everybody should join on Facebook. One thing, whenever I have a Google question, when I put it in there, nobody waits for Adrienne to come and reply to that. There are 10 people waiting to reply. The other community members, they just plunge in and they go like, this is your answer. This is your answer. Here's my thought. And Adrienne probably comes in and takes a look and, oh, this question's already been answered. Great.
I actually do. I actually do. I do. So that's so funny. Yes, I love the group. It's really active and I'm just so thankful for it. I want to give an apology. I didn't get the Tidy Your Tech link done for you guys for this. And so I do see that there. I've been really sick the last couple of weeks. I think a lot of people have just been having this flu and sickness and stuff go around.
It's going on.
So
yeah.
I dropped my Drive hacks link into the chat. So grab that. That is will take you to the 5 simple hacks to organize your Google Drive. And then I'll make it up to you guys. We'll get the Tidy Your Tech. I'll talk to
Just
Summer
get
and
on
we'll
that
get you guys
Facebook
like
group. Just get on that
Yes.
Facebook group and she'll talk to you directly. Ronnie has a
Yeah.
question to start with.
Yeah.
Everybody get ready for your questions.
Good morning, Adrienne. I love all
morning.
that. I have 2 questions. The first one is, I find a handful of clients in the past few years, at least 6 or 7, but out of the mass, that's a minority, that they don't get it because they don't get my notifications, like when I schedule a meeting or the next session, because they use iCalendar or Yahoo Calendar and they don't want to mess with anything else. And also, what do I do about, this is more like a mindset thing. What do I do about people that don't like the notifications? Just don't, but then they're late or they miss it. And it's like, see, I told you should have been my notification. So I don't know, any advice on that? They don't like the notifications. But mostly I had the question about those people that don't use Google Calendar.
It's hard because there's not much we can do. It's not really in our control unless they're within the Google system. So because they're going to be able to add it or put it onto their calendar in some way. I know that you can connect things together. My inner toddler is saying they should just be on Google. That would just make our life easier. I wish I had a really good tip and trick and hack for you. I really don't. It's really on their end to make sure that they can add it and be a big person and make sure that they're on time. I'm a person who doesn't like notifications, so I actually don't have notifications set up. So yes, I am one of those people. But that being said, I'm on top of my Google Calendar and I'm looking at it all the time and I'm paying attention to the time and things like that. So it's one of those things we kind of almost have to release that control and just have them be on top of their own thing and just do what we can do. You might want to consider adding like an email notification to them. You can add on, especially if you do that appointment scheduler, if you schedule through there.
I don't use the appointment scheduler. Is that available on the free one?
You get one. You get one. Yes, one appointment scheduler.
I didn't see it in the settings. In the
So
little
you go to new and then it pops down and says appointment scheduler. Or if you go up to here, let me pull up.
I just clicked on settings.
No. Yeah. So if you go to let me pull up my free
I'm sorry,
one.
but new is just appearance.
Hold on just one second. Let me pull up my free Google Calendar because I was testing it over there. Yeah, no problem.
Or is it
it's create is what I'm trying to say. So if you're here, so if you're in the free one and you go to create, you can go right here to appointment schedule.
I'm sorry, to the left. Okay, create.
Yeah. Yep. So create appointment schedule. So it's right here on the side.
Okay.
And so then you'll be able to set it up so that they can book directly with you. And then if you go, when you're here, there's booking confirmation and reminders. So they will automatically send a confirmation email. If you're on a paid plan, there's ability to customize and add additional reminders. And they're saying here, like you can upgrade to Google One, which is an additional cost on the free plan. So that is another bonus to the paid one, but they will send out like an invitation and then there is an option of adding on reminders there. But even within, like if you have here, if I've set up an appointment right here, and I add a notification. You can do an email instead of a notification here. So you can set it at your level that will
I'm
send out
sorry.
the reminder.
I was talking about email. People don't like getting the email because I have
Yep.
it set up email. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
even
that's one of those like we can only do so much, you know what I mean? So those would be my suggestions.
Last question. I'm going to change the
Yep.
second question then. If I went ahead and used this one, what happens to my Calendly that's synced? So just give them this link or the Calendly?
Yep, you do one or the other. So if you decide to transition to the appointment scheduler, then you would just give them, you might have a period of time when you're going to have to kind of manage both a little bit because you might have some stragglers here, but you would just switch to using the link for the appointment scheduler and give that out instead of your Calendly.
So the Google gathers only, it allows them to book only in the empty spots or the ones marked free, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, that's what I'm
So
afraid of.
yeah. So the is that still up here? Here.
So if things are already blocked out and color coded, they cannot schedule if it's already blocked out.
Exactly. So here, like for here, this is how it's going to look. And it's going to be, so I'm just going to say test really fast. And I'm just going to go through and do that. So this is why I have a love-hate relationship is because it gives you these bars on the side. And when I have like because I have multiple calendars, it can get kind of cluttered. But that being said, what it's going to do, so see, there's this test event at 11 a.m. If I open the booking page, and I'm looking at tomorrow, the 16th, it's going to, or no, that's today. It's going to read where my block is of where it's going to allow me to book an appointment and such. So it's going to look at anything that is busy in here. So yeah.
That's
So
beautiful.
yeah.
I'll let you
Hopefully
go
that helps.
because I know other people have questions, but I just want to say I've had a little problem with the Calendly when I forget my own personal life. I just didn't put busy. So then my Calendly shows I'm free. I'm like, oh no, that whole day I'm supposed to be out. Yeah. So it doesn't. Yeah.
Yep. So well, hopefully
By
those
the way,
tips and tricks help.
they do. Purple's my favorite color too, but I put it for
Awesome.
my workout.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
Connect with Adrienne on the Facebook group. And we
Yeah.
have one last question from Joe before we jump into a very quick networking. Go, Joe.
Hey, two quick questions. I think I know the answer to the first one, but when people schedule in their Google Calendar, can they get an SMS notification? My guess is no.
Nope. I'm sure I haven't looked into it. I'm sure there's an add-on. There are so many different third-party add-ons that I'm sure there's probably one that you can add there, but native Google functionality, no, not yet.
Okay. The other question just really has to do with Google Drive. I have all these documents in Google Drive, and it's like navigating it is kind of a nightmare. Is that what you address in that PDF or that whatever?
Yep. The drive hacks right there are my 5 hacks to quickly organize your Google Drive. So definitely grab that and check it out and then hop in the Facebook group. Google Drive is my specialty. So
Cool.
definitely connect.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
She meant Google everything is her specialty. Do creep into her YouTube, you guys, and she has plenty of jewels in there. So thank you, Adrienne, so much for your expertise, and you bring a lot of value into the symposium. So thank you. I know people have been getting antsy and people just want to like go somewhere, do something, speak, because Summer speaks too much and all the speakers have been speaking. What about us? So that's how a networking breakout is happening but this is going to be a very short one. There's going to be 5 or 4 people in your room. Just connect with everybody, say who you are, just like yesterday. Discuss Google tools. What tools do you use most other than search, Gmail, and calendar? I think those should be called the holy trinity of Google. Hey, Adrienne? Maybe.
Yeah, I like how you put in search there. I always call it, the holy trinity, because I call the Drive, Gmail, and calendar the trifecta. But yes, Chrome and search and stuff needs to be in there too. So maybe I need to rework it.
Hopefully, yes. I am not such a great fan of Google Meet, but I cannot live without the calendar and the Google Forms.